So before taking a look at building a better bucket toilet, let's take a deep dive into the failures with our existing toilets. So yeah, if your feelings keep squeamish, feel free to skip ahead a few minutes, but it won't be too graphic, I promise. Alright. Alright, so our first issue with this toilet is it's too high. Me personally, I prefer a squat toilet because I just feel like that posture is a whole lot better for getting my bowels going. But a good compromise is your typical 5-gallon bucket. It's about 15 inches, which comes up to right around here. However, I added a urine diverter to this bucket, so I had to add this lift down here. So now the height's up to about 18 or 19 inches, which I feel is just a little bit high. So a compromise is we had to build this little step, so it's sort of a DIY squatty potty. So ideally, I would like to recess the bucket into the floor, but to do that, I'd have to take out the tile, cut into my joist, make a recessed floor, and I'm not going to do that. We're just going to stick with this for right now. So coming up here, you can see our next issue is this gap. So yeah, you want your toilet to be really tight, that way it keeps the smells in. So I really like my wood grain elongated toilet seat. So what I'm going to do is I'll add a little bit of weather stripping around the edges here. So when it closes, it'll make a nice tight fit. We'll do the same thing with the lid between the top of the compartment. Alright, so we're going in. So I just changed the bucket, so don't worry, you're not going to see anything too terrible in here. So let's take a look at the components. We have a urine diverter. I like it, good idea. Separate your number 1, your number 2. Makes my buckets lighter, also I don't have to change the buckets out as often. This is a splash guard, also very good. Keeps anything explosive from going out into the compartment itself. I'll repeat that when I do the new one. This is an exhaust vent. Fortunately, it's a 1-inch pipe that runs down out of the house, underneath the house, and there's an exhaust fan at the far end. We'll talk about what the problems with that in just a moment. So let's open up the toilet compartment. Another good idea I recommend is put a little gas strut on there. It makes it really easy to change your bucket so you're not having to balance the lid on your shoulder as you try to get the bucket out. So let's talk about our venting. So you see it comes through there and it winds down there, goes out the wall, goes outside, goes down. The problem is this is only a 1-inch pipe, and I found just the flow is too restrictive. There's on the very far end, we'll go take a look in a moment, there's a 4-inch muffin fan, like a computer CPU fan. It just does not have that much draw. Like you might be able to hear it. I'll be silent for a moment. There's a slight draw, but it doesn't have a whole lot of pull. So I am going to replace this with a 2-inch pipe going out, and I'll probably just mount the fan right here. All right, take a look at our other issues. Let's go ahead and take our bucket out. Let's look at some good ideas. For example, I like using the blue buckets. Yeah, they're kind of calming, they hide stains really well as well. I like using these bin liners. These are biodegradable. I think they're made of some sort of cornstarch or plant starch. Like they break down our compost, within 6 months, if not sooner. And they just make the bucket cleanup a little bit easier. So going down here is my other big problem. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. Let's add a little bit more light in there for you. All right, you see there? So I put a P-trap on here, which you typically want to do when plumbing. What a P-trap does is it keeps fumes from the septic system or your sewer system from creeping back in because there's a little bit of water kept right in here. The problem with this P-trap is it just collects pee, like as urine. So I'm constantly having to flush it out so it doesn't smell like urine all the time. So I'm just going to take that out. We're going to rely on the vent fan to exhaust all the fumes in this compartment. And then we'll also just spin around here. It's hard to see. I'll give you a little light. I'll just make this whole box a lot tighter. You see there's lots of gaps in here. There is a gap right there between the wall. So I'm actually going to attach this to the wall. Now this is just a box that sits here for now, but it's going to be attached to the wall. All right, so that's the project. Oh, let's go take a look at where the vent fan comes out. I'll go replace that in just a moment. All right, coming out here, we're on the opposite side of the toilet. So there's where the ventilation pipe comes out. Notice it's only a 1-inch pipe. I'm going to make this hole bigger. Makes a 2-inch pipe going down through the deck. We'll go duct through here. Pardon the mess down here. This usually isn't on our tours, so let's ease on through here. And there we go. Turning up here, and hopefully you can see this. Oh, there it is. All right, so this is the vent fan. I don't know if you can hear that one. I just have it mounted in this plastic box, like it's actually inside there, so it really restricts flow, I think, because you've got about that much space there, and then it goes right into a 1-inch pipe. So I'm going to make this a 2-inch pipe, and probably mount this on the inside of the toilet compartment instead of out here. All right, so that's it. Let's get to work, and I'll see if I can get out of here. So right now I'm taking parts off of the old toilet. I've removed it, took the urine diverter off, and yeah, instead of having a P-trap here, I'm just going to have an elbow. This is 1.5-inch pipe. I'm doing as much plumbing as I can out here because it's a whole lot easier to do it right now versus once it's already installed. And then yeah, it will come over here and then go to the outlet right there. Alright, so I have the top transferred. I got my splash guard installed. I'm going to spray paint that black, I think. It's not too gaudy looking. One other change I have that I talked about earlier is I put an extra little splash guard. Let me come down here. This little splash guard on the bottom of my urine diverter to keep anything from spraying. Anything that sprays underneath here goes into the bucket. So I just took a little piece of plastic and I screwed it to the edges, and it will just fits in there. Okay, so we've had the new bucket toilet in operation for a couple weeks now. It's working really well. First off, you see I reinstalled the step. Gene wanted it shifted over just so it'd give us a little bit more room in the middle of the bathroom. It seems to work pretty well. See, I've got my gap sealed now with this foam. So I've got a nice tight bond between the top of the toilet and the seat there, and the lid and the seat. Alright, so heading in. So first off, you can see we got the splash guard installed. I painted it black. Let's get the bucket out of here. See, I've got our urine diverter. And then there we are plumbed in. So the urine goes out to our septic system. So I'm going to drop you in here. You can see I just have that elbow in there and it sort of just fits in there. Then I got the splash guard in there. And then yeah, here's the fan. I hear it going. And we'll just head outside, check out the ventilation system. Here's where it comes out. It goes down underneath the building. I still need to go back and plaster this, but it shouldn't take too much time to do that. So there we are.